Hey guys, no bullshit here and welcome back to the channel. I feel like I'm doing a lot of complaining today. We're gonna do another complaining video. We're not really complaining, but I've just got annoyed with a situation that's happening within Star Wars and the fan base and so on. But yeah, let's get into the video. So, for you who don't know me, I love Star Wars. I've loved Star Wars since I was a kid. You know, watching episode 1 to 3, that's where I started, and then I went back to watch 4 to 6. Loved it all. Watched the Clone Wars, going through college and university, watching Clone Wars. Then watched Rebels after uni. I loved it. You know, I loved it all. You know, Rebels wasn't as good as Clone Wars, but it was still good. And I love the games. You know, I've played. You know, I played the legendary games. You know, Battlefront. Republic Commando, KOTOR 2. I played them. Star Wars Pod Racer. Like I played them. You know, the old classics of Star Wars. I love those games and I still play them to this day. I'm a big fan. And even in Disney Star Wars, I gave it a benefit of the doubt when it came to episode 7 at first. I was like, okay, episode 7, you know, it's a repeat of 4. But, you know, it's the first one. Let's see what they do the next one. And then The Last Jedi came out. And, yeah, I didn't like that one at all. It did crush my soul. My interest in Star Wars was pretty much gone from that movie. Then episode 9 came. And that was just a joke. In my opinion. For me, at least. You know, these are my opinions. But, you know, even though Disney have done a lot bad, you know, I won't just call them out on the bad. I will at least give them props on the good. And I feel like a lot of fans out there aren't doing that because they're so bitter. There's a lot of YouTube channels who got famous because of hating on Star Wars after The Last Jedi. You can look at so many YouTube channels and you already know the ones. Come on, it's so evident. You know the ones that only raised in popularity because of that hate towards, you know, The Last Jedi. And, you know, for all means, yeah, hate that movie. If you hate it, hate it. But my problem is with these channels is even when there's something good coming out, and believe me, there has been some good, not many. There has been some, like The Mandalorian season 1 and 2 was great. For mostly, Endor was fantastic. Book of Boba Fett was mid at best, and so was Obi-Wan. But we've had some good stuff, and now Ahsoka's coming. And Ahsoka, in my opinion, episode 3 was Ahsoka was one of my most favorite episodes in anything Star Wars related. It was I just felt like we were getting so much lore, we're getting so many interesting fights, we're seeing more of the training of a Jedi in swordplay, which you don't always get to see. Definitely not in the real life settings. They don't ever do that really. So it was nice for me to see that. But yeah, these fans, they don't seem to ever at least give the dues when the due is there. They seem to always bash regardless of how good something is. And it's sad because I know they're doing that because that's how they got famous and that's what they know to do. And there's so many people who are still bitter. I mean, I'm bitter too. I hate what Disney did to Star Wars. But they're so bitter that even to this day, they're just... You know, they're just talking about the same things. They're not even Star Wars fans, and they don't know anything about Star Wars. Guarantee most of those channels, probably at 95% of them, don't know anything about Star Wars because they haven't watched the Clone Wars. They haven't watched they've only watched episode 4 to 6. They hate prequels. They haven't watched anything expanded. Nothing different. Nothing else. And they claim like they know it all. They know what's good Star Wars. They don't know what Star Wars is. They know episode 4 to 6 is, and fair enough, that is Star Wars. But there's so many different aspects of Star Wars. They never played the games. They never played Battlefront. They never played Republic Commando. They never played KOTOR. They don't even understand anything about the lore past Luke being trained by Yoda and Obi-Wan slightly, and then Vader being Luke's father. They don't know anything past that. And when they see some of that stuff in the series, that's when they complain, they get confused, they bash it. But they have no love or admiration for the Star Wars franchise at all. Apart from the first couple movies they saw when they were a kid. And you can evidently see this in the way they speak and the way they talk about the series. Case in point, Ahsoka. I've seen someone call Ahsoka woke, and I'm like, bruv, where are you getting this from? Just because most of the women on the scene, most of the people on the scene, most of the main characters are women, doesn't always mean it's woke. Most of the main characters in Ahsoka are females, because most of the main male characters in Rebels died. Unfortunately, they died or suffered or went missing, or went on different adventures with Zeb. I actually can't remember what happened to Zeb at the end, and those characters are big characters in Rebels. Kanan, he was the Jedi of Rebels. Ahsoka came in every now and then, but she was barely there. Maybe I can't remember the episode she was there. And I can't remember his name now. Ezra. I don't know why I forgot his name. Ezra. The two main characters of Rebels were male. There's no woke here. You're just looking at it at face value. You're not even doing any research on what's going on. You don't know anything about what's being going on, and you're just chatting. And it pisses me off when people can't at least give, in this case, the devil its due. All right. Yes, there's been a lot bad in Disney, but this isn't bad. Maybe you don't like it, but it's not bad. I can't say it's bad at all. Now, fair enough, they could definitely do better. Episode 1 and 2 in Ahsoka wasn't the best starts, I would say. Some of it was great. I was liking it overall. I actually could see potential in how the story is progressing, how they're opening up things to this new galaxy and all this stuff. I was like, okay, this is lore. This is stuff we can expand on, and we can get new things. Maybe this is them slightly somehow getting the EU more into Star Wars. But, these YouTube channels, these people, they don't know anything. They have a very little, minute sense of information about Star Wars. And it's interesting to me. Because for me, if I like one movie or something, I don't call myself a fan. So just me personally, because I haven't followed the series properly to be an actual fan. Some people will say they've watched like 10% of a series, 10% of some type of franchise, and they call themselves a fan, and that's fair enough to them if they want to do that. But that's not a fan to me. You enjoy that particular content. You're not a fan, all right? It just annoys me how Disney kind of fractured the fan base this way, starting with The Last Jedi. This definitely did fracture it, because that's when we start to see all these YouTube channels coming in and all these people coming in. Back in the day, I used to love, and the funny thing is, these people are late to the party. They're only hating on Disney now. I was hating on Disney since day. And let me tell you why I hated on Disney since day. Back when Disney, I remember watching South Park. I was thinking about this the other day when I watched South Park, and they had this episode about Star Wars and selling the right to Star Wars, and the Chinese wanted Star Wars. And, they're worried about who's going to own Star Wars and would they treat it right and all this stuff. Which is pretty funny. And I remember when Disney did get Star Wars, and one of the first things they did was cancel the Clone Wars. And I was like, wow, you cancelled the Clone Wars. This is my favorite show. This is my favorite cartoon show, and you're cancelling it. I remember watching season 5, season 6, the pinnacle. And then we got season 7 a couple years later. But season 7 is a stripped back season from what we should have got. Because 4 episodes in season 7, the story was already written. It was already made without the effects and all these extra stuff on top. I used to watch on YouTube season 4, the first couple, back with the Bad Batch in season Clone Wars 99. I used to watch it. There was a YouTube series on the 4 episodes they almost fully made, and it was fantastic. And then they had the Crystal episode and all that stuff. That was fantastic. They had George Lucas and Dave Filoni were planning on 8 seasons. They were gonna finish 6. They were gonna do 7 and 8, and Star Wars Clone Wars was done. Disney shut it down, and 6. We got halfway through 6. We got, I think, 11 episodes, 11 or 13. I can't remember the two. I always get mixed up. Yes, some of the best stuff I've ever watched. But they came in and cancelled that on the dot. And then they came out with Rebels. And I love Rebels. I said Rebels is good, but Rebels is no Clone Wars. The quality was dipped. And you could tell. You could tell they dipped on the quality. And that's the thing. These fans, they weren't there. Where were you? You weren't there because you're not interested in Star Wars. You weren't following Star Wars. When they cancelled Battlefront 3, were you there? You were not. Republic Commando 2 rumors. You were not there when that was going on. Where were you? You didn't care. You didn't care about Star Wars until it was popular to hate on Star Wars. But I was always there. Fans like me were always there. And we loved the franchise. When they cancelled the EU. When they cancelled the EU. My EU brothers, I feel for you. I used to watch videos online. I remember on YouTube for hours and hours during work. And also just during studying. Of just people theorizing on battles and power levels and power scaling. And telling different stories. And hearing people using their own sound effects and using their own voice effects. To read out the stories of EU, and I was amazed. I was like, this is great content. This is great. XR Kun, The Rule of One. Man, I remember all this stuff, reading and watching. But where were you guys? You weren't, because you weren't fans. You're only fans now, apparently. Now that it's popular to be Star Wars fans. Well, popular to hate on Star Wars. And that's why I call them fake fans, because all this stuff was happening way before The Last Jedi. And I was already pissed off with Disney back in like 2012 when they cancelled the Clone Wars. They brought it back later. And like I said, 4 of the episodes were already from the past. And another 4 of the episodes were mid. With the 2 girls. I don't know what was going on in that. I gave it a benefit of the doubt at the start of time, but it was not interesting. And then 4 with Ahsoka was fantastic, but it was like 12 episodes. I'm like, damn. If George Lucas and Dave Filoni finished off 6, 7, and 8, I would have had, like, 50 more episodes. I guess 40, technically. I don't count season 7 as season 7. I count it as 6 part 2, really. There were so many other stories they were going to tell us, and we'll never get to see them. So yeah, man, I'm just annoyed, and I'm upset, because when good things come out, like Endor, and now Ahsoka is good, and it's getting better and better, it's like they will still rip on it, and they will still bash it to the ground, even when it's good. And there's YouTube channels like Star Wars Theory, you have Stupendous Wave, and For Skywalker. Those YouTube channels are great, fantastic people, because even though they don't like the direction that Disney's gone with Star Wars, they did not like Episode 8, they did not like Episode 9, they still will respect and show, respect to the good stuff. When something's coming out and it's good, they will say this is good or this is bad. They're not objectively blind by hate, trying to push for, trying to push for all this fake stuff. No, they present the truth as it is, and they come with it. And if things are bad, they say it. If things are good, they say it. And that's why I really appreciate about those YouTube channels. Those are real Star Wars fans. I can tell from what they say, the things they read, the things they talk about. They actually talk about Star Wars. They don't just talk about woke stuff. They actually talk about the content in Star Wars. All these other channels, I don't hear them talk about any content in Star Wars or around Star Wars. It's always about Kathleen Kennedy, which I don't like anyway. They talk about her all the time. They talk about the directors all the time. Not about the series itself. They don't theorize about the series because they don't know anything about the series. And then you got a couple channels. I'm going to finish this video up in a second, but you got a couple channels who just talk about rumors all the time, and we know they're fake, and you know who they are. You know they're fake because every time they talk about these rumors and nothing happens, and I'm like, bro, I used to follow them. I used to be, yeah, this is great, but nothing would come true. I'm like, so where are all these rumors coming from? You have all these rumors, all these sources for months, weeks, years. Nothing that you said comes true. Nothing. And you're still making videos. Like, who are you dumb? Are you mentally challenged? Do you have no other capabilities outside of talking shit online to make money in real life? What were you doing before this? What were you doing? Are your brain cells that minuscule that you can't do anything else apart from tell lies on the internet? Who raised you? Like, how can people live life like that and feel like they're living a good life? Selling dreams to other people, lying to other people on a daily basis, making money pisses me off. Those are the type of people who are the same type of people who run Disney. They have no soul. They have no ethics. They have no honor. They're out for themselves. And what's good at the moment, they're doing the same thing, just in different fashions. And it pisses me off. But that's it for me, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Did I go too harsh on the subject? I don't know. I think maybe towards the end I did get a bit unemotional, because this is annoying me, man. It's just annoying me. I just want, man, I love Star Wars. I don't like Disney Star Wars, but when they do good stuff, I will respect it, and I will you know, I will keep respecting good stuff coming out, and I hope for good stuff to come out. But if there's bad stuff coming out, I will trash on it. I will call it garbage. That's it for me, guys. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.